Modell's was founded in 1889 by Morris A. Modell. Modell was born in 1864 and immigrated to the United States from Hungary in the early 1880s. He opened his first store in Lower Manhattan in New York. The location was later demolished for the site of the original World Trade Center. Modell was successful in selling clothing to sailors where he wanted to set up a permanent store. Afterward, he supplied clothing for Theodore Roosevelt's Rough Riders during the Spanish-American War. After the war had ended, he purchased surplus military clothing for cheap. After World War I, when Morris's son Henry came back from the war, Morris handed him the company. Soon after, the store changed its name to Henry Modell & Company Incorporated. Upon returning after World War I, Henry purchased more surplus military clothing which helped make the company money when World War II began. Upon entering the war, Modell sold clothing to the military for its soldiers. After the war, Modell offered training to soldiers looking for work and had a preference to hire military veterans. Being creative with their products, Modell's took the military surplus items and turned them into functional products such as shell cases into lamps, helmets into toys, and so forth. During the 1950s, Modell's began operating a discount store throughout the New York area known as Modell Shoppers World. Expansion continued during the 1960s when their 4 Henry Modell Company stores and 2 Modell's Shoppers World outlets increased when they purchased 8 De Vega Store Corporation sporting goods for just over $300,000 in 1963. In 1987, Modell's acquired Pauley Brothers in 1987 after the company had gone bankrupt. The following year, they sold Modell Shoppers World to Home Depot in 1988, exiting the discount store business. After selling Shoppers World, Modell's began focusing on their best-selling merchandise, sporting goods. Within the next few years, with sporting goods sales being a major part of their stores, Modell's began to change strategies, and by 1995, Modell's Sporting Goods began. At this time, there were 48 locations, with 32 in New York and 16 around Philadelphia. The following year, Modell's purchased 15 stores of Herman's World of Sporting Goods for $2.5 million. Modell's was on a roll and planned to open 5 to 10 new stores yearly for the next 5 years. Their stores were becoming larger, averaging 15,000 to 20,000 square feet. Being a privately ran, family-owned business, Modell's were tough negotiators and worked quickly during acquisitions. Modell's warehouse continued to operate in the Bronx even though there were cheaper alternatives. They remained there due to their connection to New York and being loyal to where they began. During the 1990s, Modell's increased their advertising and was spending on average $20 million yearly to place their logos on New York bus and subway cards, advertising on television, radio, and in newspapers, as well as at Yankee Stadium. During its peak, Modell's Sporting Goods had 152 stores, but began to struggle during the 2000s. Mitchell Modell, CEO of Modell's during 2012, was featured on an episode of popular television show Undercover Boss. According to Modell's, with poorer performance by professional sporting teams during the 2000s, climate change and increasing temperatures, as well as an increased competition, all led to decrease in sales. In 2019, Modell lent his company nearly $7 million in an attempt to rescue the company, but it wasn't enough. That year they lost $50 million in sales. Early the next year in February, Modell's, wanting to only close a portion of the stores, decided in March to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy and liquidate their remaining 134 stores. Tiger Capital was the liquidator of their locations. By August the same year, all stores were closed. Modell's likeness, including brand, domain name, and trademarks such as Gotta Go to Moe's, were acquired by Retail E-commerce Ventures in August 2020 for $3.64 million.